Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and we get together on a regular basis to talk about rumors, trailers, discussions, everything going on in the world of movies and TV shows that involve superheroes, and sometimes random Netflix things. Today is going to be a rumor. We're going to talk about that Justice League cameo, I guess? Cameo at the end of Peacemaker and what this means for the future. But I also want to say, because everybody keeps asking what's going on with Benny's hair, there's two of you. I'm just growing it out. I don't know what's going on with Benny's hair.
Yeah, it is very different. It used
I
to be
just stopped getting a haircut. That's all it is.
Let's see where it goes. Let's see how far we can take this thing, huh?
I know, I'm curious myself, like how far before I'm too annoyed and it has to get cut off.
Yeah, and then you'll just.
Or am I going to start to look like a homeless person? One of the two is going to happen. All right. So anyway, if you missed it, Peacemaker ended with a cameo featuring Superman, Aquaman, Flash, and Wonder Woman. Two of them were silhouetted out, Superman and Gal Gadot's character, Wonder Woman. I don't know why I worded it that way. Henry Cavill, Superman, and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. And Jason Momoa and Flash made a quick joke back and forth about him screwing fish.
Yes.
And the internet is in an uproar. This is a disservice to Snyder. Where does this fit in the continuity? What is happening? And that's what we want to talk about today. What does this mean for the continuity of DCEU? Because that's what everyone wants to know. Is this Snyder? Is this Joss Whedon's Justice League? Is this something else? What is WB doing? And there's also been another reveal that other superheroes were cut out of that.
Yes.
Because their costumes have now popped up on Instagram.
Right?
So let's talk about the first part of this. What continuity do you think those four are from? The ones that did show up. Keeping in mind that Cyborg and Batman were cut.
Yeah. They're from the same stories as Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, the Whedon one at least, and everything. It's the DCEU. Like, all those characters are from the DCEU. Peacemaker's from that. The Suicide Squad movie is a soft C-boot of Suicide Squad, where it's like, it's in the same universe. We didn't hard reset. We just kept it going and did it better this time.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I read something yesterday, and I don't know if it's substantiated, but it was a quote from Henry Cavill, who said that Netflix, quote, owns the exclusive rights to his face ever since he started The Witcher. He said it was an unfortunate contract thing. I missed it. So did my agent. Oh, well, 2 years to go. And that could explain Shazam, no Superman talk, and this cameo.
Well, I'm looking right now. It did come out 2 days ago. Breaking. Henry Cavill confirms that Netflix owns the exclusive rights to his face.
Yeah. Which is Superman's mask. So that's it.
Why wouldn't they have just said this, though? Why wait until now?
I don't know. It could
that
be that
would
the Warner
make
Brothers
sense
lawyers
why
knew that, and Henry Cavill didn't.
Well, I'm wondering if this would explain why he has yet to show up on anything since he became The Witcher.
And why he continues to say, like, I'm still Superman. Like, I'm not fired. I still work here.
That is... Yeah, that is an actual... It says like, breaking news. Like, where did this start?
Yeah, I don't know. I got it from some, like, French-sounding website or Twitter handle, Les Cinephiles, which has 50,000 followers on Twitter, which doesn't say much, but whatever. But,
I mean, I don't know where, because I can't find where it started.
Yeah.
So we're not going to...
We won't say it's confirmed. It's just like...
But that would actually lead to why, like, because they're showing a clip here of him as Shazam, but his head is cut off, why he didn't show up. But they keep using that suit.
Right, exactly. Because they could, I mean, like, look at the set photos from Batgirl and how, like, we're not just recasting Batman, we're redesigning the entire look. Like, so we could say, like, is this in the same universe? I mean, like, yeah, J.K. Simmons is Gordon, but I mean, it's Michael Keaton. He's significantly older than Ben Affleck. The suit is completely different. There's some kind of deniability. But it's interesting that I think that the current status quo of DC cinema is it's beholden to, like, a number of moving parts. some of which we don't even know about, like Netflix owning the exclusive rights to Henry
whether or
Cavill's
not that's
fate.
true or not, that does bring up a good point. Like, same thing with Gal Gadot. She's tied up in a whole bunch of other movies and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
when an MCU movie comes out, traditionally, those actors don't do much else.
Right. They're working on that project, and they're usually signed in for at least a couple of movies.
Right. So they're constantly keeping up with the diet. They're constantly making the appearances. Look at Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
How much stuff has he shown up in since he was the Thor?
Right. The Thor.
The Thor. I know. I as soon as I said it, I'm like, that's wrong.
Well, no, he is the Thor. There are other Thors, but that one is the Thor. Not much, right? He was in that horrible Jay and Silent Bob movie, and he was...
There was a lot of cameos.
Cameos and appearances, yeah, but like, what was some acting he was doing? And it could be why like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. got weary over time, because they're like, I want to do other things. Like, I want to do like a sleepy independent drama.
Yeah,
or
I'm looking at his
show.
like official appearances, and his most notable role, other than Thor, has been the voice of George Kirk in Star Trek.
Oh,
the father of because he's the father of Chris Pine in that series.
Yes, that's right.
And then he was in Thor, Black Hat, Vacation, In the Heart of Sea. So 15 had a few of them, but he was only in Age of Ultron for that one.
Yeah.
Then it was Huntsman, the Winter's War, Ghostbusters, Team Thor.
Oh yeah, he was in Ghostbusters. I forgot about that.
Doctor Strange. It's majority MCU stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be just because of the timing between, who knows why, like, they choose not to do or aren't in much. But I mean, the fact is, he plays a main character in that Ghostbusters movie. Wasn't he in a like a show or a Netflix exclusive movie deal? Like, wasn't there something going on with him? Like
Extraction, which is
Extraction,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's a franchise.
But the DCEU, but the difference here is, and this is what I want to get at with this, is yes, while he was on a lot before somebody goes, no, here's his list. He was on seemingly a lot. Compare how much we didn't know about those.
Yeah.
Compared to how much I know about Gal Gadot's stuff she's on, because it's constantly wildly promoted. How much I know about Ben Affleck's everything.
Right. I don't know, man. It's interesting. Like, Gal Gadot could be a complicated thing. Like, if Henry Cavill can give up the exclusive rights to his face, then perhaps Gal Gadot could be like, you can't use... There could be a contract where it's like, if you use Wonder Woman in film or television, it is my face. Like, I am Wonder Woman. And, like, if you... Right? Like, if Wonder Woman appears, I get a check. It could be something like that. I don't know. But I assume it's just a way of... If we're not going to show Henry Cavill... Like, if we obscure everybody... We only got the two actors. Like, we're not going to call
Jason
Gal Gadot.
Momoa in... it could be they couldn't call Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot up. That couldn't happen.
Or she was just busy. She was like, I don't want to do that.
Ever since Henry Cavill did Batman v Superman... No, Justice League. Yeah. He's kind of not been available. Most of the time you just hear, he wasn't available. He wasn't available. Also, if you watch his personal stuff... The dude just wants to be left alone majority of the time.
Yeah, he's not in the public eye too much. I mean, if he
he plays Warhammer.
He's
playing video games. He's on
building
World
PCs,
of Warcraft.
He's busy. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like what he's doing. Like I mean, it's kind of what ended up happening. With not to like put me on the level of Henry Cavill, but the bigger all these channels got, the more I just started finding hobbies and not wanting to show up and do things.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. When you're doing the big push, you're on everybody's show, and then when you finally get there, you're like, I don't want to do other shows. I just want to work on my thing, and then be my own person.
Yeah, and that could be where Henry Cavill's at. He's like, I'm not available. I'll do Witcher. Witcher's paying me good.
Oh yeah,
I'm getting nice residuals as the face of Superman.
Right? I guess maybe. But yeah, it's interesting.
So as far as back to the original question of what we're talking about here before we got into the whole, that's an interesting rumor, which got us at a crazy tangent. But
it did.
So do you think that this is the Snyderverse version or the Justice League version, or what I think is going on? WB doesn't care which one you think they're from. They just want to reuse those actors.
Yeah, no. As far as Warner Brothers is concerned, I think they don't see a difference between the Justice League and the Snyderverse. Like, for them, they're like, that thing, that black and white terrible aspect ratio thing, is its own thing, but it's just a longer version of the thing you got. Like, as far as they're concerned, there is no difference. It's why we scrapped the New Gods movie.
I could see that, yeah.
Because you put Darkseid in there, and I don't want to answer that question. Because what if we don't want to use that version of Darkseid? Because why would we?
Because it's created a lot of discourse that it's this version because the humor is a Justice League one.
Is it?
But the darkness and the appearances is the Snyderverse one.
Yeah.
And I honestly just feel like WB doesn't care.
They don't care.
If they cared about the continuity, they would attempt to make it clear.
Yeah.
The MCU has attempted to make what's important clear. They've
Yeah.
left some of it muddled, but they've made the important bits clear to you.
Well, they know their whole thing is hinged on continuity. So
Yeah.
they have to make some effort. But even then, they don't. And then some, like, earlier on, they were like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Let's make a fun Marvel one-shot to kind of clean that up. And afterwards, they're like, no one cares. We don't
Yeah.
need to do that. So...
that's the big thing. They stopped doing cleanup. You're right. I didn't even think about that. Because like
Right?
Mandarin, how Thor got to the location, even if it was a joke, it was supposed to be, this is the puzzle piece.
Yeah.
It's all fixed.
Right,
you
like
know?
even in Shang-Chi, like I think they deleted the line. I don't remember if it was deleted scene or if it was actually in the movie, but like the real Mandarin is like, I ran the Ten Rings like sect in Iron Man 1, like I did this, like I was the Mandarin in all those movies.
Right.
Like, but they cut that out, so it doesn't really matter, but like they did at least think to put it in the movie.
Right.
You know, or at least they thought to shoot it. Then they thought the better of it and edited it out. But like I can imagine them being like, it doesn't really matter. Like the audience does not want to be bogged down by details like that. They want to see a throwaway line. Like they want someone to say, well, at least you're not Ant-Man. But like they don't want to hear about the technology that went into making the Yellow Jacket suit being incorporated in some other movie. Like they don't care.
No. They didn't, and they in continuity. I think with Marvel doing what they're doing is showing I think the problem is this: WB said, Zack Snyder, you're creating our continuity.
Yes, that was
then
the
they
plan.
unceremoniously basically fired him. We don't know if
Yes.
confirmed or denied, but whatever happened, he
fired
basically fired him. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we can't confirm or deny, but yes, I'm in the camp of they fired him.
Yeah.
And I feel like WB then put out the Justice League movie,
Yep.
and it didn't do as well as they wanted.
Nope.
It barely made its money back, if it did.
Right.
And they were like, okay, so our problem is it didn't make enough money. But
Yes.
no one gives a shit that it's tied to the other stuff. And then they put out Aquaman anyway, leaving in continuity threads.
Yes.
And no one cared.
And that's when they were like, oh.
Right. And then they put out like Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad, and no one cared.
No.
And I think what it boils down to is there is a subsect, us included, that like that continuity, but WB's in the park of like, yeah, you $100,000 worth of people care.
Right.
Those other $900,000 people, they still don't understand the basics of the superhero world. Like,
Yes. Yeah. And they don't want to. Like they're
Right.
not going to.
They're not
and
interested.
and like we are a movie studio. Like as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, you know, like Marvel Studios is a studio owned by Disney. Disney makes they pay for the movies, but Marvel Studios, they're like they have an approach, right? They have Feige and they have their casting directors and they have their people, and they're like, what works, and we do this. Warner Brothers is a movie studio that's like, we're not making comic books. We're
Right.
not building a universe. We're making films.
Yeah.
Like Shazam. So we're not interested in how it works. We only jumped on the like continuity bandwagon because it worked over there, and we make similar looking. We own similar looking characters.
Yeah.
But-
I don't think at the beginning they were like, I don't think they were sitting there like, we need to make continuity. We need to make continuity
No.
thing. We need to make an interconnected universe. They were like, what if the movies link together and we just keep making movies? And that was
Exactly.
how they looked at it.
That was it.
Kevin Feige's like, no, I want to tell the story of my Marvel universe.
Right.
And Warner Brothers is like, no, we just want to keep making movies that can make $1 billion. And
Yeah.
apparently if you just put in people in spandex, you'll make $1 million.
That's literally that's the two big differences between those two studios. Or there are many of them, but that's like the one we're talking about today, where it's like, Warner Brothers is like, I don't want to do that. Like, we want to make Joker, a movie that uses the IPs we paid for 60 years ago, and make and win Oscars.
Yep.
That's what we want to do. We want to make $1 billion, maybe win an Oscar, and use stuff we paid for already.
Yep. So,
Which, like, I don't blame them. They're a movie studio. You know, I'm not I'm not mad that Dimension Films or whatever that became doesn't make interconnected horror movies.
I'm actually a little sad. I thought that was going to be really neat.
Listen, that would be neat. Like, would it be cool if, like, you're halfway through watching a Scream movie and then Freddy kills the Ghostface guy and now it's a Freddy movie?
Yes! That would be amazing!
Yeah, except then they made Freddy vs. Jason and they were like, I don't know how to do this. And they screwed it up.
The problem is Feige. Feige is the problem. Because he's way too good at his job and he cares too much. And we don't have another Feige. There is no other Feige for the DC side.
No, and we should do, like, I don't know if I want to necessarily spend an hour talking about this, but, like, Feige was born from movies. Like, he worked on superhero movies during the Renaissance. You know, like, he worked with, Amy Pascal and Laura Ziskin and, like, all these different producers and directors who made the X-Men movie and the Spider-Man movie and, like, and Blade. Like, he knew these people. And so he saw what they were doing and how they did it, and he worked in film before that, like, before the concept of the MCU existed. There are few analogs, people who were film guys who knew the comics, but also watched as the superhero movie genre was being born, and then was able to go, that works, that doesn't, and let's do this. There are few people like him.
There's very few, because not only that, but as a comic book fan, he's the fan that understands what the general masses want.
Right.
I don't deny Zack Snyder is a fan of Superman, Batman, Justice League, and all that stuff. I don't deny that. I mean, but he obviously likes a version of them.
Right.
Like, that's what he likes, and he wants to bring to
his
film.
version. I mean, they're all doing their version, but Zack has a much more, and here's a compliment. Zack Snyder has a much more specific style. Like, Zack Snyder, his movies, his writing, his stories, his characters, they are very much to a type, and they don't appeal to everybody. But they do appeal to a very specific person who likes that art. And so as a result, like, it's not going to appeal to everybody. You know?
But Feige understands what the general masses want.
Yes.
Which is funny, because what the general masses want is the thing that a lot of people criticize the MCU for.
Yeah.
The people that decide that they're film buffs, or the people that decide that they're hardcore comic fans. Oh, this isn't Marvel Comics. Well, 900,000 other people disagree with you. Like, this is like, what it has become now.
That's the only time I have a problem with it is if it bleeds into the comics, because, like, the comics are such a drop in the ocean. There's no reason to do it, you know? Like, just leave them alone.
So before, because we're already running a lot longer talking about this, which is just, this whole episode is just a tangent.
I know.
So it was then revealed, because the actors put out, or the body doubles put out their pictures of them in the outfits. There was somebody for Batfleck, and there was somebody for Cyborg.
Right.
Why do you think they were cut? Now, Cyborg, I think, has to do with Ray Fisher's whole
That is
thing.
entirely what it is. Cyborg was, we should probably not. Like, they got so far as to have a Cyborg stand in them, and I can imagine that there are two different schools of thought. Like, Batfleck, I could see them going, we could use him. Like, it doesn't really matter, because he's going to be in the Flashpoint movie, so whatever. But with Cyborg, it's like, do we really want to poke the hornet's nest of Ray Fisher again?
Yeah.
Like, let's just not.
I feel like James Gunn just grabbed everybody that was in the Justice League. And then WB's the one that's like, and you're going to cut him? Yeah. And you're going to cut him.
Right. Totally.
And I could see, like, some lawyer behind James Gunn. And he's like, you got to cut Cyborg. And James Gunn's like, but why? Just check Twitter, James.
Yeah. Just, you know what? Maybe don't ask questions, James Gunn. So he did. I mean, with Batfleck, I could see they just don't want to. They're reestablishing a new Batman. There's going to be at least two Batmen in the Flash movie. It's complicated. Like, let's just not. And they actually picked the two characters that it makes sense they wouldn't show up. Like Cyborg, he's busy. You know, in every Justice League comic book by Jeff Johns, he's guarding the base.
Oh, yeah. That was always my joke. Everyone's like, why don't we see more Cyborg on a channel? Because more Cyborg is just Cyborg watching the base. I don't know what you want from more Cyborg.
Yeah. And with Batman, it's like, well, he's a part-timer anyway. I mean, like, not in this Justice League, but normally.
Yeah. I mean, I get the story reasons why. It's funny that, like I said, we can almost guarantee, because Ray Fisher was not unceremoniously, he was just straight up, you're fired.
Yeah.
You started all this. The people said nothing happened. You want to keep going, you're fired.
You will never work for Warner Brothers again. It's over.
Never. And then Batfleck, I mean, Ben Affleck has pretty much gone on record being like, it was the worst experience I did it for my kids, and I hated it.
I hate
hated
being
every
Batman.
moment.
And like, but that's not a reason to cut his body double out of the movie. Like, Ben Affleck is not the kind of person who's like, they used my version of Batman. Like, he would be like, no, if you can use my version of Batman, but I don't actually have to even be there, go for it.
Going back to your early tangent, they have to pay for that version to arrive. So they're like, well, we got Gal Gadot still, we got Henry Cavill still, so we'll pay them. But we ain't paying Ray Fisher.
Right,
and
like
Batfleck ain't coming back for when we want him, so no.
That could be, yeah, like we are definitely making another Aquaman, another Wonder Woman, and maybe another Superman. But and we're making a Flash movie, but I don't know what we're doing. We're not doing anything with Cyborg, and I don't know what we're doing with Batman. So let's just focus on the properties that we want people to see.
So we don't get to pay their versions.
Exactly. Yeah, that could be.
What do you think in the comments down below? Why do you think that they were cut out? I mean, I think we're all in agreeing that the Ray Fisher one, but why Batman? Why was Batman?
Why Batman? What's the
do
problem?
you have another theory why they cut out Cyborg? Like, there's got to be more than one theory. It's just that's the one I keep seeing.
I mean, I think that's a pretty strong theory.
But what do you think in the comments down below about the future of the DCEU? What continuity do you think it's from? I got like a homework list for the comments today.
Yeah.
What continuity do you think it's from?
Oh, God.
Or do you think they just don't care and it's not a continuity anymore? They're just like, the movies exist, stop questioning it.
Yeah.
And why do you think Batman and Batman and Cyborg aren't there?
That's a fair question.
Yeah. All right, well, we are absolutely Marvel and DC. You're seeing a few lower videos right now because everything starts up in March, so we're just kind of taking a bit of a breather. But we're going to be back strong, 6 to 7 videos a week, talking about everything going on in the world of comic book movies, TV shows, and all that kind of good fun jazz. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time right here.